So hearty welcome. Today we are going to discuss about the hard case which is prevailing, which is creating an lot of awareness and also precautionary measures in the minds of investors. The Hindenburg report, which has which has become more popular and highlighted in the minds of many people. There are many inside. You can see five of the seven listed companies current ratio is below 1. This is the major finding made by the made in the report. Indicates the near-term liquidity is going to be a crisis. So this entire report is focused on how the Adani groups involved the entities offshore, and also going for certain strategies to stimulate their share prices and also raise loan against by pledging those shares. Here the entities are situated in many countries like Mauritius, UAE, Caribbean islands, Singapore and the other thing. So there are certain entities, those who are facilitating such type of activities, including the money laundering, all those things are facilitated by some of the entities. There are some specific agents also available to support with them. There are certain issues which are focused by the Hindenburg in their report is theft of taxpayers' money laundering. Say for example, they have quantified also the total estimates, which is amounting to 17 billion US dollars. 17 billion, it's huge money which is having And one more thing they have mentioned about the the Vinod Adani, the Gautam Adani brother, who is having a network with offshore entities who facilitated the fraudulent activities, particularly in terms of funds flow as well as in securities inflation. And there are other things, the stock manipulation, just now I mentioned about it. Stock manipulation, accounting frauds are also focused in this report. Stock manipulation, particularly how do bots manipulate share price? Plays buy or sell of securities by going for future contracts, creating false demand through automated algorithms and other things. These are all the techniques which are used, stock manipulation. There is a symptom, there is a possibility of such type of things also that is disclosed. And accounting frauds like substantial debt by pledging the overpriced or inflated stock and getting a rising loans also that is mentioned. And the offshore entities as already pointed, there are certain offshore entities which are involved in this process. They don't have no signs of operations, they don't have address, they don't have phone numbers, that is meaningful online presence also not found. And what's the nature of some of the cell entities? They do stock parking and manipulation, just as we mentioned, money laundering. And the another issue which was mentioned in the report, is high promoter share. Four Adani limited companies are on the verge of delisting. We don't have much more authenticated, but this is the thing because of a higher promoter share holding. And earlier, if you look at the earlier thing also, SEBI investigated into stock manipulation earlier. 70 entities, including Adani promoters, they were booked into the case. As 2007, SEBI, identified one of the most notorious stock market manipulator, Ketan Parlich. They made a lot of things. They banned because of their illegal activities. Later reduced to fine. And results of that, the results, if you look at the overall results, the 14 Adani private entities transferred shares to the entities controlled by Ketan. That was one of the major issue which was raised in there. And earnings manipulation. Next slide, please. Earnings manipulation. Next slide. Next slide. Next slide. The earnings manipulation, example, a series of transactions where assets were transferred from subsidiary of listed Adani enterprises to a private Singaporean entity controlled by Vinod Adani. People are saying it, once you transfer any assets to the offshore entities, it should be coming under disclosure of related party disclosure. So a breach of that will also happen. These assets were immediately, impaired. Next slide, please. And coming to the Adani's full form top, as I already told you, the Bernard Arnold of Louis Vuitton is the world richest man. Because of these, information which was disclosed in the report, the standing position of Adani. Okay, Adani on the other hand was, surpassed by Microsoft founder Bill Gates and the great, investment guru Warren Buffett on the list. Okay, his ranking also, come down. Next slide. And Adani, present net worth, as you know, okay, it's valued now, back at US dollar 96.5 billion according to the Forbes. Next slide. As I already told you, the report, it's making an invading to the greater, deeper into that. They are making it as a, human-made disasters. And companies that have been subject to their reports include Adani Group, Nikola, Clover Health. It's not only Adani, there are some other things, Candy, Lordstown Motors, and the Technoglass. These reports also feature the differences of the practice of short selling, how they play a critical role in it. Short selling is one of the, massive, it's a massive technique which are used by the people to take a windfall hike in their share prices. Next slide. See, the Hindenburg research named the Gautam Adani, founder and the chairman of the Adani Group, stating that amassed a net worth of roughly 120 billion, earning over 100 billion in the past 3 years, largely through stock price appreciation in the group's 7 key listed companies, which have spiked an average of 819% in the period. So during that period, short span of time, they were able to make 8-fold increase in their existing value. It added that the report was research based, and that is involved speaking with the dozens of individuals, including former senior executives of the Adani Group, reviewing thousands of documents and conducting diligent site visits in almost half a dozen countries. This is a thing they have mentioned clearly. They have some supporting document also. Next slide. And the very specific thing, key listed Adani companies have also taken the substantial debt, including pledging shares, inflated stocks we have taken. And one more thing, there is some critical issues also related to the investors. Next slide. Like LIC, State Bank of India. Next slide, please. Okay, next slide. See, the Adani transaction share tumbled over 19% and Adani total gas sank, 19.1 in their biggest daily drop since mid-March 2020. While Adani green energy sank about 16% on the BS in the early trading session. This is an impact, because of one report disclosed by people that has made a great impact on that. So there is a close association with that. And the Adani Group is no ordinary conglomerate. It is closely identified with the Prime Minister Narendra Modi since the time he was the Chief Minister. This is this is little alarming, because for the nation's growth, Adani has contributed more, and this is the one statement which is specifically mentioned in that report too. Next slide. Yeah, the status of LIC and SBI. Just now we mentioned about it. Of course, the high, exposure of financial institutions such as the Life Insurance Company of India, which is dealing with the hard-earned money of, common public, of middle class and below middle class. They have a trust on LIC. And State Bank of India, which is said to be the largest bank in India, which is dealing with huge volume of customer base, irrespective of their, cadre. To the Adani Group, stating that it had implications for financial stability and for the crores of Indians whose savings. Just now I mentioned about it. They have invested 8% of LI's equity assets under management, amounting to 74,000 crore, are in Adani companies, and companies it's second largest. Just imagine 74,000 crore, which is supported by lakh crores and crores of schemes, investors. The latest report by Bloomberg, published on January 27, state-controlled life insurance corporation of India, spending about 3 billion rupees, that is 37 million, in an anchor investor of 2.5 million new shares sale by Adani Enterprises Limited, according to a filing. That's going to be, that's also critically mentioned. Even Adani Group, reply to the report, They'll be completing the process of issue of shares, current issue, by 31st January of this year. Then only they'll reciprocally respond to the report. The investment would award to its current holding of 4.23%. The LIC investment stated the financial news agency signal its vote of confidence in Asia's richest man and obligated group of in January 25th. Next slide. Yeah, this is a report which is talking, which mentioned about it. Research tells Adani to walk the talk. Hindenburg says it's welcome legal action also, because it's a big company, Adani, which is having a huge volume of operations with the different entities. They also made a red alert to the Hindenburg office bearers. They're going to file a case against it. Okay, they are also ready to take up all the things as what is being seen as the Hindenburg effect, where Adani Group companies have reportedly lost 85,000 crore, and meanwhile have also threatened to take a legal action against the Hindenburg research. Stock have blunted the US-based group, however, replied to the social media. This is very important post that if Adani is serious, it would also file suit in US, where we operate. We have a long list of documents we would demand in legal discovery process. This is going to be one of the opportunistic area. If their hands are clean, they can prove. But if it is not so, there will be that may create a huge volume of damages to the group. Next slide. And the response, just now we mentioned about the different responses. The Hindenburg researchers responded to Adani Group's. Adani Groups have released 413 pages report. In response to the Hindenburg report. So now the Hindenburg entity that has responded to Adani Group's rebuttal to its allegations, refuting Adani's 413 pages long response. Hindenburg has said that fraud cannot be obfuscated by nationalism, because how people reply to that. Okay, the media, all the thing they focused on certain type of focus on the it's an attack on the trust of India. All those things that judgments were made by the people. So to put a full stop for it, they have given such type of statement. Next slide. And coming to from the students' perspective, we have not taken any political perspective of this case study. There's an outline about the case study I clearly given. This outline will tell you the entire story about that, what we learn. Money laundering, TCS having an exclusive office in Pune to monitor. There are many, the government has given, a lot of powers to them, and, the government is also taking a lot of efforts. We have prime bodies like RBI, which is on the top, the Bankers Bank, which is having a high regulation part, and SEBI, Security Exchange Board of India. After the Harshad Mehta case, the controller of capital issue that was changed into SEBI, given a lot of powers and everything. These are the two supremo which is taking it up. One, people are saying it. The earlier government has given a lot of empowering to RBI and SEBI. Now many news channels are focusing on that, where whether the RBI and SEBI powers are vested in some other people's hands. This is a question again. As a student, you must approach the case. You don't add any political coloring to that. Being the Adani group as listed in that particular report, just let me make an inviting to that. So I have made some of the questions to you. Government authorities have chosen to turn a blind eye towards illicit activities by its favorite business group. Is there a quid pro quo? Quid pro quo, in contract we used to say, in the law we used to say something in written, quid pro quo. Okay, that's one question number one. And will the RBI ensure that risk to financial stability are investigated and contained? This is question number two. What is the forthcoming status of a common investor with their hard-earned money and savings? We used to say, LIC, SBI, that should be one of the safest mode or route through which, the lakhs and lakhs of investors can trust and invest and put their money also in different forms of deposits and other thing. And whether big is always a good. This is again a question, okay, when you allow a particular corporate to grow and dominate the entire country, whether it's good or bad for the economy. These are the few questions I have put it forward. You can go inside, you can analyze you can get a lot of input and everything in wording. and we'll discuss. We'll discuss. Let me listen to your deliberations, and finally we'll go for a concluding remark. Thank you. Thank you for listening. Professor Kalpaswamy Ramanathan from Coimbatore. All the best.